Security's tight at Afghanistan's TOLO TV with good reason after 7 employees were killed by a suicide bomber. Now on BBC World News, with some scenes you may find distressing, station staff talked to Yalda Hakim at TOLO HQ in Kabul about making television in a country at war.
Maximum security in downtown Kabul. But this isn't an army base or foreign embassy. I've come to the headquarters of TOLO TV, Afghanistan's most popular broadcaster. These defensive measures might seem extreme, but they're necessary. TOLO TV has been and remains a target of terrorist violence. How can an independent TV station function amidst death threats and bombs? This is the TOLO News morning meeting. In the hot seat of one of the most dangerous journalistic beats in the world is TV newsroom boss Lutfullah Najafizadeh. He's only 29 years old, and there's a lot of responsibility on these shoulders.
زنگ مکتب خوب است؟
منفی میشه گپای وزیرم شاید باشه گپای رئیس جمهور یکی میگیریم و دیگه‌ش هم میریم پیدا میکنیم که چقدر مکتب بسته است، در کجا مشکل است برشان اینی چیزا.
آمار پیدا کنیم.
آمار را
چقدر ریاست‌هاش خالی است. در فرودگاه رو ببینیم، خرقار اینا رو ببینیم. که عمومی نباشه.
در کابل امروز روز فرخنده است، روز مرگش است، کشته شدنش 2 مراسم است.
And this is Shakila Ibrahim Khil, one of TOLO's most experienced correspondents. Shakila is a widow. Her husband was killed under the Taliban, and she's raising their 3 kids alone.
زمانی که معسل بودم و ما کار خود با طلوع آغاز کردیم و اما کارم عشق دارم، به کارم دوست دارم، نه تنها کارم طلوع را هم دوست دارم، به خاطر که طلوع رسانی بود که به ما زمینه و فرصت فراهم ساخت تا ما همین صدای مردم مظلوم خود باشم. ما خاطری بعد از زمان طالبا داشتم، وقتی ما متعلم بودم طالبا آمدن که از مکتب رفتن نمیتونست، اما مردم میدیدم در گوشه میشنه رادیوی بی بی سی را میشنوه، منتظر هستن که بی بی سی چی براشان پیام خوش بده که اینا آزاد شدن، طفلشان مکتب میره، خانمایشان به کار میره. در اون وقت ما الهام گرفتم که ما باید خبرنگار باشیم.
Shakila is covering a women's rights protest in Kabul. It's the first anniversary of the murder of a woman called Farkhunda, who was set upon by a mob. She'd been wrongly accused of desecrating a Quran.
تازه کار شروع کرده بودم، بسیار سخت بود، مردم برخوردشان درست نبود، اما حال رفته خیلی خوب شده. دکاندارا، سربازا، مردم عادی که میبینن زیاد احترام میکنن و عکس میگیرن و اعتماد میکنن که گزارش‌هایشان مهم باشه، باز بر ما میتن گزارش‌های خود تصویر میارن، کمک میکنن.
Shakila's been given another assignment. The Independent Afghan Women's Association is funding schools in poor neighborhoods.
به خاطر که ما میخوایم امی خانمی که مکتب ساخته میخوایم این تشویق شوه مثل از دیگرام چون که یگانه عامل بی‌ثباتی در افغانستان این بی‌سوادی مردم است. روزایی که زیاد اعصابم نارام باشه کوشش میکنم گزارش فرهنگی بسازم که امیر سر روی این تاثیر بگذاره یک کمی عوایم دیگه شه. روزایی که گزارش های هیومن رایت حقوق بشر کار میکنم یا از یک خانواده قربانی را کار میکنم خیلی اعصابم نارام میباشه سر اعصابم تاثیر میکنه اما نمیتونیم که نکنیم به خاطر که واقعیت و حقیقت جامعه ما اینمی است.
استاد آرام هستیم ما در اینجا میتونیم درست درس بخونیم درست آموزش بیافیم و در یک مکان امن.
But Shakila is not a social affairs correspondent. In fact, she's made a name for herself, covering dozens of suicide bombings over the years, speaking to families of the dead and interviewing wounded survivors. And she's received death threats from Islamist militants for her work.
سرک پلچرخی است و زیادتر رویدادهای انتحاری در امی سال گذشته در سال 2015 در امی سرک اتفاق افتاد.
شما گزارش‌هایتان زیاد هم سر امی انتحاری هست؟
گزارش داریم بله عملات که رخ میده گزارش میگیریم باز بعد از اون از خانوادهایی که در حادثه کشته میشه پروفایل میکنیم که چی کسایی بوده و زیاد وقتایی که عملات شوه گزارش می‌داشته باشیم بدبختانه البته.
For Shakila, covering hard news seems instinctive. We're not yet back in Kabul and she's already trying to set up another story about political violence and corruption.
بودجهش پیسش از کجا میشه اینیشه؟
But not everyone has welcomed the way the media has developed since 2001. I'm on my way to meet a former Taliban official who was once a senior journalist in their own Kandahar-based setup, Radio Sharia. Nazir Mohammed Mutmain feels the media here are a foreign implant.
We have TVs, radios, magazine, newspaper. It was really a good progress. But sure, it was not created according to the Afghan culture and regional religion issues. This was a big problem against the Afghan media in last 14 years.
Do you feel that it hasn't been done according to Afghan culture and customs?
Yes, we felt. Many times there was threat to the media, to some of the journalists, some newspaper, they broadcasted anti-religious issues. For example, we have some local media, they broadcasting anti-Afghan cultural programs.
Like what?
Sorry, Afghan people know about that. Like, you know, there is a star, TOLO program, Afghan star. It is not according to our culture.
And this is Afghan Star, TOLO TV's top-rated show. The network has been responsible for bringing many popular international television formats to the Afghan public. It's all been condemned by the Taliban for lewdness and immorality. And the militants might well have been thinking about this woman. Ariana Saeed, one of the judges on Afghan Star and a celebrity in her own right. She lives in London but moved to Kabul for 6 months to record the show.
I have a lot of fans in Afghanistan and they like to see me, you know, on their TV screens on regular basis. And since I cannot have a concert here for them because of the security reasons, I thought it's a, you know, good opportunity to do something for them, you know, through this show and try to bring a smile on their faces.
Today's finale, held in a secure venue on the outskirts of Kabul city, is being guarded by a squad of commandos. Taliban threats are taken very seriously indeed, and with good reason. The TOLO network has real clout due to their size and wealth. They have the resources to tackle stories others might shy away from. But the staff here ended up paying a terrible price for their news coverage of the war. In September last year, Taliban insurgents temporarily overran the northern city of Kunduz. It was the first time the militants had seized a city since 2001, and it was huge breaking news. TOLO TV led the media pack covering the story.
We had 10 journalists on the ground for about 3 weeks. We produced over 100 news packages in those 3 weeks, which is extraordinary. All our main bulletins, flagship bulletins like 6 p.m., 10 p.m. were filled by these exclusive stories from Kunduz.
During the fighting, TOLO TV reported that Taliban fighters had raped women in hostels of the local university. But this story turned out to be wrong. Amnesty International documented allegations that Taliban fighters had raped women in Kunduz, but not at the university because it was shut. The channel's bosses say they clarified this in a later report, but it didn't help.
Our reporters were reporting as live from there, around the clock. Sometimes it was a difficult choice to make sure all the adequate editorial filters are in place. Because when things are live, they're just live.
But the Taliban were furious and issued an official threat describing TOLO as a satanic network that was now a legitimate military target. This was actually the 4th time militants had threatened the channel. Realizing the deadly seriousness of the situation, the channel's bosses reached out to the Taliban through intermediaries.
We managed to get in touch with the cultural council of the Taliban. We said this was not a conspiracy to undermine or to damage your reputation. It was a report that was filed based on what we were told. If you're interested, we are happy to go back to Kunduz, do an entire story on all the rape allegations and everything else, just to clarify things. The answer from the Taliban to us was, do not worry about it, this is sufficient for us.
For 3 months, all was quiet. Then on January 20th this year, TOLO TV became the story. Early that evening, a minibus left the main TOLO compound to drive staff home to the distant Kabul suburbs, where many of them live. On board was news cameraman Hasib Sadat.
من شاید بگم از اولین کسایی بودم که در بس بالا شدم. من همیشه در سیت‌های پیشری میشدم یا وسط نزدیک دروازه. اما روز تصادفاً من رفتم پسر. گفتم من امروز پسر میشینیم و دوستا آمدن همگی ششتن در جای خود. کسایی که در جای من اما هر روز جای من مشخص بود کجا میشینم. یک دوست دیگه ما آمدن اونجا نشستن که خداوند رحمتشون کنه و همگی آمدن قسم میکردن با هم. بعضیا موبایل همراهشون بود، فیسبوک چک میکردن یا امور یک کار مصروف بودن یا گیم یا هر چی بود.
But the minibus, which had made a detour to pick up even more staff from the Afghanistan set, was being trailed by a Taliban death squad.
من یک حالت را گرفتم در چوکی، خود یک ذره داخل‌تر بردم و سرم ماندم، گفتم باید یک ذره استراحت کنیم.
Suddenly, a suicide bomber rammed the minibus, detonating a carload of explosives.
وقتی ما به هوش آمدم که امی ضربه انتحاری مرا از موتر بیرون انداخته بود، ما به هوش آمدم. هنوز توتای امی چرا به حساب بگم از آسمان پایین مفتادن و هر کس هر طرف افتاده بود. هنوز دود بود، دود بوی امی انتحاری مواد منفجره بود.
We were actually on the set of Afghanistan. We had just finished the show and we heard the blast. And it was so loud and so scary that we actually thought that it's happening right outside our gate probably. We thought, you know what, Taliban are here and any minute they're going to just come in and attack us.
News of a bombing reached the TOLO TV headquarters and they dutifully reported it.
سلام به خبر 6 خوش آمدید. وقوع یک حمله انتحاری در شهر کابل.
At the time, no one in Tolo realized that it was their own friends and colleagues who'd been attacked. Then the awful truth started to emerge.
It was 5:15 in the afternoon. I was in my office upstairs in a meeting when our head of news walked in. And he said that there was a car bomb in the western part of the city. And he said that it was us.
They took us out from the emergency door, and once we were inside the vehicle and everything, going back to the hotel, then on the way they told us that the attack was on one of the Tolo cars, and that so many people have got hurt. And on the spot, you know what, I started crying. We didn't know who it was that was dead. We didn't know, like, who is injured.
Back at the bomb site, it was a chaotic scene.
همگی هر طرف افتاده بود، چه قصد میگن، فریاد میزدن. موتر دورتر از من بود، آتش گرفته بود. راه من گم کرده بودم که چی باید کنم، کجا برم. بالاخره یکی آمد و مرا بغل کرد، برد موتر رساند تا شبخانه. وقتی من در شبخانه رسیدم، هنوزم دوستای مرا می آوردن به بسیار وضعیت خرابتر از من که واقعا فکر میکنم تعدادشانم شهید شدم، کسایی که اونجا بعد از ما آوردن.
And then we went to the hospital nearby where our colleagues were taken. And that was the first time I could see something like that. Some of the bodies were unrecognizable, were beyond recognition. Some of our wounded colleagues were in very terrible situation. I saw a kid on one bed who was just a bypasser, who was wounded and was crying. And I couldn't hold myself, so I had to rush back outside.
7 Tolo staff were killed that night, and almost 20 more were seriously injured. Among the dead was 22-year-old graphic artist Mehri Azizi, a close friend and colleague of TV news boss Lutfullah.
That day I met with Mehri, the graphic artist, who is a very, very vibrant soul, and she was wearing black. And you know, she passed, and you know, she said hi to me, and I told her how beautiful she was that day. And she smiled, something which was part of her character. And a couple of hours later, you know, we realized that she was no longer part of us. She was going to be promoted very soon as the head of the graphic department, probably one of the, you know, first female employees, you know, who was going to be promoted to a big level. So it's a loss for us, it's a loss for her family, and it's a loss for Afghanistan.
Shakila takes me to meet some of Mehri's colleagues. In the graphics department is a makeshift shrine.
مهربان نماز میخوان در وقت میدیدیم. بسیار دختر با کرکتر بود، دختر صمیمی ما در دیگر دیپارتمنت ها بودیم، امرای همین صمیمی بود.
اعضای یک خانواده با هم بودیم. تا حالا آمد که میگن که نیست تو نمیشه باور که یعنی مهدی نیست رفته.
تو فکر کردیم که رقم حادثه سرتون میایه؟ بعد از زیام که طالبا اخطار دادن.
ما خو اصلا باور نمیکنیم. وقتی ما بین خود بخاطر این اخطار یکا هم گپ میزنیم بود مهدی میگفت که من هم میخوایم جوان دوباره ما تفکر میکنیم.
مذاق میکنیم که شما که اگه چیز شب باز شکلونش نگویم که من نمیخوایم دوباره بیستم. خنده میکرد و مذاق یعنی همیش ما میگفتیم اگه گملی شوه ما خود میریم اون طرف ها میشیم بالا میریم اون طرف تو چی میکنیم؟
تو فکر میکنی سر دفتر هم نمیشه؟
بله آمد یک فکر میکنیم که اگر شوام شاید این جمله شود در داخل امایی که در راه یک واقع میشه اما هیچ وقت انتظار شده نمیشه
نامزاد میشه بله نامزاد هم شده فکر کنم راشدی خودش روزی که میمود یک روز پیش یک روز بعدش قرار بود نامزاد شد
TOLO TV went off air for a period of official mourning.
We don't overindulge in mourning because a lot of Afghans would say, hey, this is what we experience on a daily basis. So it had to be a sort of a fine balance, and 3 days seemed sufficient time to mourn. It's extraordinary how quickly Afghans move on. You know, we have up to 160 incidents per week, suicide bombings, attacks, killings in this country. So it's extraordinary what people have to go through. So moving on, it's something that we've learned to do in this country, and we as a media outlet had to actually also move on.
Here's the beauty of this whole thing. You've got all the time in the world to figure this out. You can just be you for a while, if you know how to do that again.
So I can just be me. And I can wear my mom jeans in peace. I hate these tight jeans.
Good, good.
My name's Craig Wright, and I'm about to demonstrate a signing of a message with the public key that is associated with the first transaction ever done on Bitcoin.
And who does the world think did that first transaction? What's the name associated with that first transaction?
The monkeyer is Satoshi Nakamoto.
So you're going to show me that Satoshi Nakamoto is you?
Yes.
It's early morning in Kabul, and across the city, people are preparing to tune in to the country's favourite phone-in show on Arman FM, TOLO TV's sister radio network. It's on air at 8 a.m. But the host hasn't arrived yet. With just minutes to spare, he turns up.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good.
Good, thank you. Sorry, yeah.
Masood Sanjar,
You're not late.
No. We still got some time.
one of the longest-serving employees at TOLO. He's now a senior executive, but this show, which he co-hosts with Mr. Danishar, is his baby. This program holds those in power to account. Politicians, ministers and generals are all fair game. Last night, an armoured vehicle crashed into a civilian car, killing several people. The team here and their thousands of listeners want answers.
جنرال صاحب محبوب مدیر ترافیک کابل روی خط تلفن هستند.
جناب مدیر صاحب این موتر مربوط کدام قطعه است؟ مربوط اردوی ملی است، مربوط پلیس است، مربوط کی میشه؟
مربوط به اردوی ملی میشه و به مگزین و فوجدا بر 3 وقت توسط پرسنل مسلکی مدیریت ترافیک به شفاخانه انتقال میشه متهم قضیه دستگیر شده.
The listeners are soon fully engaged with the security forces firmly in their sights.
سلام علیکم، صبح بخیر، بفرمایید.
برادر محترم، ما از این شکایت فقط انجام پلیس یا آنقدر بی‌رحم در سرکار رفتار میکنه، به این ناامنی و بی‌امنی رو به انجام پلیس میندازه. در هر جایی که می‌بینی اثر جدول خیز میزنه. آیا این سایت داره نداره، پرسان میشه، وزیر داخله داریم نداریم. هر شهر کابل که هر جایی می‌بینی پلیس امنی ناامنی فقط به پلیس امنی انداخته است.
Next thing, Arman FM's social media stream fills up with photos of crashed police cars sent in by listeners.
آقای کاموال سلام، صبح بخیر.
The next guest is a military commander in the unstable northern city of Kunduz.
کندوز مردم تشویش زیاد دارن. تقریبا 1 سال است که با ما همیشه زنگ میزنن، شکایت میکنن که یک تعداد مردم در اون طرف زیر کنترل طالبان مونده. یک مناطق و بسیار مناطقی طرف که زیر کنترل دولت است، راه ها را مین مردم به اصطلاح مین است و مردم آمدن نمیتونن طرف شهر.
یک چیز بگم که نمی کندوز اینمی گپای اینمی یکی جنگ است که مرمی از سفن میبره و یکی که از دام گپ میبره. اینجا غیر از اینمی کندوز سکوت میکنه که اینجا من فرش کرده که در اینجا اینتر میشه. این هم یکی از جنگای تبلیغاتی دشمن است که در کندوز بیخی با اوج خود رسیده. شما ببینید از اینمی سالان سوار شوید در منطقه برین تا به سرحد تاجیکستان. هر کس تو را استاد کس شو میری روز میری ایره ما ضمانت میکنم.
But the show's listeners aren't impressed. The reaction is immediate.
ما وایدل هستم از ولایت قندوز بیادر.
چطور از امنیت قندوز؟ از کجای قندوز زنگ زدین؟
دیگه ما در 4 کیلومتری قندوز موقعیت داریم و زندگی میکنیم. قبول که پیشتر آقای کامال گفتن که امنیت از سویت از یا صرف کسا که پلیس از اردو از امنیت پوسه خدا میگیرن در قصه مردم میستن. صرف مردم تمام زمین زیر تهدید طالب است و زیر تهدید توریست است.
همکاری مردم با پلیس چطور است؟
میگن دروغگو است.
همکاری مردم میکنن یا از ترس هیچ همکاری نمیکنن؟
بیادر هزار که همکاری کنن. شخصا خودی ما 10 دفعه در یک سرمزی پلیس زنگ زدیم، 100 دفعه یا بهانه میکنن که صدایت نمیایید.
خداحافظ. Done. People are not the people who were 14 years ago. They are very well informed. Internet, TVs, radios, social media made them very informed. So they can't just hide things from people.
Is there a level of self-censorship though for you? Is there anything that you won't touch on?
I would say yes. There are some cultural boundaries that we don't want to touch. It's not because we want to censor, it's because of the sensitivity of the society. But yes, journalists do self-censoring because Afghanistan is not only Kabul. Afghanistan is Helmand, Afghanistan is Kunduz, Afghanistan is Bakhtia, Afghanistan is Jalalabad. So being a journalist in Kabul might be easier than being a journalist in Helmand. Like, you've got your family living in Helmand and you're a journalist, how can you report about Taliban? How can you report about a warlord that is in that area? So it's very difficult to be a journalist in a country like Afghanistan.
I'm meeting a man who worked as a radio reporter in rural Afghanistan. He paid a heavy price for investigating a very well-connected local politician who'd raped and then murdered a 15-year-old girl.
It is something that I was committed to. It was not only a job for me. It was what I loved. It was what I feel as a responsibility in terms of my country, my people. And that was my responsibility. It was not only job.
His reports created a national scandal. Shortly afterwards, 2 carloads of masked gunmen turned up at the journalist's house and tried to kidnap him.
When they feel that they can do everything and there is no anybody to support journalists, so they kill them. They easily kill them. That's why we are getting to the bloodiest years for journalists, and I'm really worried about the next year.
He and his family are now in hiding.
Were you scared then?
Yes, I was. I was. Still I am. I'm changing my living place every 2 months, every 3 months. I'm changing my car every 2 months, 3 months.
You're on the run.
I am. I am because I love to live. I don't want to lose my life. I love to live. I have a baby son and I love him to have father. I feel ashamed for my son. I'm not a good father. He has the right to play in the park. He has the right to go to a normal school. He has the right to have friends and chat with them, play with them in the street. But it's his fate to be always kept in the shadow.
This all seems a world away from the relative security of the TOLO headquarters back in Kabul. Today, Arman FM boss Masood Sanjar is promoting a colleague. Hadia Hamad will be the operation's first female to make executive manager level.
اولین دفعه است که در تیم ما یک خانم منیجر میشه و این خودش یک دستاورد بسیار کلان است با کمپانی ما با خانم‌ها که یک نماینده دارن از این در بین منیجمنت بالای دفتر ما و هدیه جان مبارک باشه. تشکر. کلگیتان میتونین دمی جایی که هدیه جان فعلا آمده در آینده بیاین کار کنین، زحمت بکشین، رشد کنین. تشکر. هدیه جان موفق باشه، صمیم جان موفق باشه. چک نمیکنیم.
من تشکر میکنم از تمام تیم، از تمام همکارایم، از صمیم جان، از شما مخصوصا. همیشه یک رئیس خوب بودین، حمایت ما کردین، آرزو دارم همیشه حمایت کنین و از شما که امروز زحمت کشیدین آمدین آرزو دارم که همیشه در کنار خانما باشین و صادقانه کوشش کنین که خانما به یک جای برسن. من فکر میکنم تمام خانم اما قدر که مردا توانمندی دارن همیشه کوشش میکنن خانما هم.
زنها و خانم‌ها مشخصاً بانوایی که در دفتر ما کار میکنن نقش رهبری دارن و میتونن بحران مدیریت کنن، میتونن وقت حساس مدیریت کنن و میتونن ما را در یک زمان بسیار حساس انتقال بدن به جای بهتری. بنابراین من بسیار خوشحال هستم و بخاطر خواستم امروز بخش این محفل کوچک ما باشم.
The Taliban targeting us was always going to be a question of time. We represent civil society, we represent women's rights, we represent a more moderate version of Islam. We're believers in democracy, freedom of expression, all the things the Taliban don't like. So I'm not sure for how long we could have kept them at bay, but it was always inevitable.
Despite the strides TOLO and other Afghan media have made in the past 14 years, the country is becoming more dangerous. The network itself is now part-owned by foreign shareholders and is self-funding through advertising revenue. Those running TOLO say they're still committed to everything they have built up here. But for how long?
We don't take anything for granted. We could be gone in 12 months. I mean, the Taliban could re-emerge, and we will have no place in a Taliban-type Afghanistan, a Taliban-led Afghanistan. So we have to be very pragmatic about that. The terrain is not what it was 10 years ago. It certainly wasn't what it was 2 years ago. It may change for the better. For now, I think we can exist, but if the situation changes, we have to be prepared to also adapt or just completely move out.
Only last year, TOLO TV filmed Ariana singing in the National Football Stadium in Kabul. She received threats for this performance. Given the security situation, holding a similar event today seems impossible. For Ariana, everything changed after the attack on her colleagues in January. In this footage, the singer's manager filmed her in the hotel, trying on a bulletproof vest.
They actually have given this to me to wear when I'm going around in Kabul or when I'm going to the set to record Afghanistan. How funny is this? Being a singer in Afghanistan, I feel like I'm going to a war, actually. This is ridiculous. And it's kind of heavy as well. But yeah, what to do? How do I look, by the way? I was a target, like direct target. They would say, you know what, this week they're going to attack Ariana, they're going to kill her and stuff like that. I do get scared. But you know what, I feel like, you know, this is the path that I've chosen. I don't want to just leave it halfway. I have to finish it somehow.
And the day after the finale of Afghanistan, once Ariana's work here was over, she flew out of Afghanistan. This is an option that's simply not available to everyone here.
شما تبریک میگم واقعا برای شما کار فوق‌العاده کردید و ما اینو میدونم که وقتی امشب برنامه فاینال از اینجا مردم از پرده‌های تلویزیون میبینن صدها هزار جوان که فعلا از آینده افغانستان را میرسن و امیدوار میشن به آینده خوب در افغانستان و میبینن که هنوز هم جوانایی هستن که کار میکنن زحمت میکشن صرف به خاطر از اینکه مردم خوش بسازن و تصاویر به خانه‌های مردم برسانن که مردم از او شادمان شوند و باز هم از همتون تشکر. شما واقعا قهرمان‌های واقعی از این مملکت هستید. تا تشکر از همکاری‌هایتان.
But the news never stops. Back at the TOLO canteen, senior correspondent Shakila isn't eating. She's too busy setting up a story about the Afghan New Year.
سال نوتان مبارک. دکتر سر امی شفاخانه امرجنسی زخمیای حمله انتحاری هستند. اگر کودک‌ها باشه یا زن‌ها یا
Shakila is going to the Kabul Emergency Hospital. She's famous for covering the aftermath of terrorist attacks, and the medics here know her well.
We are the referral center for war victims. If there is a big blast in the city or casualties coming due to war in the provinces, they come here. She follows all the stories, and most of the time when there is a big blast, all the press is coming here. But she's the first one. Just in Kabul, 2015, we admitted 3,200 people injured.
Wow.
And it's the worst number we ever faced in the history of emergency in Afghanistan. And we are talking about 16 years after the international forces coming here. So when Afghanistan was supposed to be in peace. But the situation never been so bad.
Shakila's taken me to the ward where the most critically wounded bomb victims are treated. She's come here to record their New Year messages to the militants.
Awful. This little boy is in grade 4 and he's just had a major operation. It was a suicide bombing of some sort in the center of Kabul, and he's lost his leg. He's in utter pain. The grief in this room is unbelievable.
چی پیام دارین به کسایی که مرمی میمانند به هم میشنن در این سال نو؟ من نایسی پدر چی پیام دارین مثلا کسایی که جنگ میکنن سال نو شد
جنگ است که مهدی وطن ما قرار شد امیر جنگ و جنبات گم شد دیگه
خاطر که بسیار رنج بود شاید به خاطر که من یک مادر هستم زیاد کوشش میکنم احساسات به کنترل کنم اما نمیشه به خاطر از که نگران آینده از این طفلا می باشم به خاطر که طفلا را میبینم اولادای خود زیر نظر میاد و میفهم که آیندهشان خوب نمی باشه داریوش
In mid-April, the Taliban detonated a huge bomb in central Kabul, killing more than 60 people and wounding hundreds. The next day, the Taliban renewed their threats against all media outlets in Afghanistan. It's a chilling reminder of the dangers journalists in this country face every single day.